Here's something that's about to shake up London's art world forever, and it's causing quite the stir behind closed doors. London's prestigious National Gallery just secured a jaw-dropping £375 million investment that will completely transform how we experience art in Britain. But here's where it gets controversial. They're breaking a century-old gentleman's agreement that could spark the biggest institutional rivalry the art world has seen in decades. So what exactly is happening? The gallery has just announced Project Domani. That's Italian for tomorrow, which feels pretty fitting. An ambitious expansion that will create an entirely new wing behind the existing Sainsbury building. This isn't just any renovation. We're talking about the most significant development at a major British cultural institution since Tate Modern burst onto the scene a quarter century ago. The financial backing is nothing short of extraordinary. Two powerhouse philanthropic organizations, Moritz's Crankstart Foundation and the Hans and Julia Rausing Trust, have each committed a staggering £150 million to make this dream a reality. The remaining £75 million, that's coming from the National Gallery Trust, alongside a mysterious group of anonymous benefactors who clearly believe in this vision enough to open their wallets wide. Starting this Wednesday, an international architecture competition will kick off to determine which design team gets the honor of creating this groundbreaking space. The timeline is ambitious but realistic. The new wing is expected to welcome its first visitors sometime in the early 2030s, right where the current St. Vincent House location stands. Now, here's what makes this particularly impressive in today's climate. While arts institutions across the globe are struggling to secure funding for major capital projects, the National Gallery has managed to attract this massive investment. It's a testament to their vision and reputation. But it also raises some eyebrows about whether this sets an unrealistic bar for other cultural institutions. Gabriele Finaldi, the gallery's director, has been careful to reassure visitors that this expansion won't fundamentally alter what makes the National Gallery special. He emphasizes that unlike the overwhelming scale of Paris's Louvre or Madrid's Prado, the National Gallery will maintain its human-sized character. The kind of place you can actually explore thoroughly in a single day without feeling exhausted or rushed. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has thrown his full support behind the project, calling it fantastic news that will boost the economy, create educational opportunities for young people, and ensure great art remains accessible for future generations. It's the kind of political backing that arts institutions dream of receiving. But here's the part most people are missing, and it's the real game changer. The National Gallery has just made a decision that's sending shockwaves through London's art establishment. They're completely abandoning their long-standing policy of not collecting artwork created after 1900. This might sound like an administrative detail to outsiders, but within the art world, this is equivalent to declaring war. For over a century, there's been an informal but strictly observed agreement between the National Gallery and Tate. The National focused on historical works up to 1900, while Tate concentrated on modern and contemporary pieces from the 20th century onward. This arrangement prevented competition and ensured both institutions had distinct identities. Finaldi hasn't hidden his frustration with this artificial cutoff date. Since becoming director in 2016, he's openly called the 1900 boundary arbitrary and slightly frustrating, arguing that stopping at 1900 prevents the gallery from telling a complete story of art's evolution. His point is compelling. As we move further into the 21st century, the year 1900 becomes increasingly meaningless as a dividing line. Interestingly, this agreement has never been as ironclad as it appeared. The National Gallery already owns more than 40 pieces created after 1900, including works by legendary artists like Picasso and Cézanne. So in many ways, they're just making official what was already happening behind the scenes. The timing of this policy change isn't coincidental. The National Gallery is acutely aware of a glaring problem in their collection: Of their 2,300 paintings, only 27 are created by women. By expanding into the 20th and 21st centuries, they're opening doors to acquire works by female artists who were historically marginalized but gained more recognition in modern times. Maria Balshaw, Tate's director, has put on a diplomatic face, officially welcoming the announcement and promising collaboration to further the national collection as a whole. But behind the polite statements, this creates direct competition for Tate at possibly the worst time, and this is the part that should make you uncomfortable. Tate is currently struggling with declining visitor numbers and serious financial problems that have already forced them to make staff cuts. Now they're facing competition from a newly flush National Gallery that can afford to compete for the same contemporary artworks and potentially the same audiences. Some critics argue this could fragment London's art scene rather than strengthen it. Others believe healthy competition will push both institutions to excel. The question is, will this rivalry benefit art lovers, or will it create unnecessary tension in an already challenging cultural landscape? What do you think? Is the National Gallery's decision to break this century-old agreement a bold step forward for British culture? Or are they overstepping boundaries that existed for good reason? Should major cultural institutions compete directly? Or is collaboration always the better path? The art world is watching closely, and your voice matters in this debate.